Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Trader Merlin Show. It is your weekend edition, a little bit different show today. Of course, I will make up for lost time. I've been forgetting to cheers you guys as I start the show. So we're going to the little Eagle Rare today. It was a good week for me. I had a great trading week, both in the crypto and the equity side of things. So just fantastic. Hope you had a great week as well. So cheers to you all. As you can see by the chat there, we've got Don Fron in the house. You guys might know Don from his own channel. He's got the Don Fron Show. And we were talking about, actually my audience was like, hey, get Don back on the show. Get him on the show. I said, all right, let's bring him on. So today we're going to talk about technology and innovation. I have been on Don's program before, and we've talked about this on his channel. And I thought it might be great for my audience as well to look at some different components of this marketplace. What is in front of us from a technology perspective, and should we be concerned, should we be worried, should we be optimistic, and all that type of good stuff. So with all that build up, Don, welcome to the show.
Well, what's happening?
Living the dream, baby. Living the dream. Yeah. Have you recovered from your that Super Bowl? I know it was a rough one. That was tough, man.
That was embarrassing. So first of all, I never thought the NFL was rigged until that game.
Oh, now it goes the other way. Because up until that game, every game was like calls going for the Chiefs, like ridiculous calls. Come on. Man.
I don't know. That happened the same thing with the Patriots too.
Mm-hmm.
People love to hate on people that win multiple times. Like, people were rooting for the Eagles just because they were mad about the Chiefs. I feel like people are just upset with themselves when they see another winner.
It's funny because I don't like either team. I love Patrick Mahomes. I do. I think Patrick Mahomes is awesome. I think he's going to go down as one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. But I didn't want to see you guys win a three-peat. I just didn't think you guys were that good of a team. And I can't stand the Eagles fans. The Eagles fans are like the worst. But anyway, I had a good time.
They burnt that city down.
That just goes to show you, city of brotherly love. Either way, it was fun to watch, even though the first half was an absolute just butt whooping. But anyway, hopefully our trades don't go as bad as that Chiefs game did. All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, and for all the Chiefs fans out there, I'm just not going to watch any more games. Usually I'm super busy, like I'm streaming, so I can't. I was like, I'm watching this game. It's going to happen. So I do it. They suck. Kelsey can't catch the ball. Nothing's going on. I get up and leave, and that's when they start scoring.
There you go. Just let me know what games you're watching, and I'll bet against that team.
Throw a little bet on there.
There you go. Absolutely. Last time I went on your program, we had an interesting conversation, and this was after I think we had the Optimus rollout, not the Optimus rollout, but the latest version of Optimus, and it was pretty impressive, all the things that it did. And you had this forecast that you thought we'd see, massive robotics and displacement of jobs by the end of this year. I think the number you threw out was like 50%, which I was like, whoa, hold on a sec. Let's talk about robotics, innovation, and how you think it's going to impact the markets, and maybe what are some of the investment sides there?
Well, robotics was actually going to be the last thing that replaces jobs. Yeah, it was AI.
AI, right, okay.
Yeah, and that was actually from a team internal with Microsoft. That's actually where I got that number from.
Okay.
And yeah, just the way with agents coming out and stuff like that, anything that your job is just at a computer, like I think that is on borrowed time.
Mm-hmm. I agree, 100%.
Yeah, as far as the robots go, Elon came out in the last earnings call, which I thought was awesome, because he said he wanted to have robots. So he's not selling them to the public yet. He just wants to have them in his factory. So he wants his factory just all robots by the end of this year.
Okay.
And then
And you're talking for the Tesla manufacturing, right? And I don't think that would be any surprise, because if I'm pretty sure, I've never been to the assembly lines for Ford or Toyota, but I'm pretty sure they're pretty robotic based compared to what they were back in the early 1900s.
Well, so I have been. I've been in the
nice.
Ford plant, and so it's still a bunch of humans doing things, but that's the argument for humanoid robots is this whole world is shaped and made for humans. Stairs are for humans. Like, everything we make is for humans. So the second we make a humanoid robot that can do what the humans do, it's done. And I think people are probably on the foolish end if they think that they're just safe. I would rather be too prepared than not in this situation. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of always where my head's at with this, because the second you think you're safe and, that'll never happen in my lifetime, you're just woefully unprepared. And then when it does hit, it's going to hit those people a lot harder.
Yeah.
Because I sold my dividend stocks. I went all in on AI and stuff like that. And if I'm wrong, worst case scenario, I just have a bunch of money. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
like. But if I'm right, then I get to live a little bit better
Yeah.
than some of the others that weren't prepared. Because if that were to happen, it would actually be a whole lot better, I think, if robots and AI took over overnight. If we don't get a rip the band-aid off event, government stepping in, there's a lot of like helping hands because it affects everyone. The
Mm-hmm.
part that I think is going to suck is it's going to trickle in, and the people it affects first are going to go through years of just nothingness before it actually affects the high level people that it needs to get not movement, but to get the ball rolling as far as like how do we live in a new world where labor just isn't a thing anymore.
Right. It's like doesn't even matter. I'm curious. When I have this conversation with friends, I think it's going to impact everything. So I was going to say, what industries do you think that AI is going to hit the hardest? But I guess that doesn't really matter because it's going to hit everything. I guess an easier question would be, what areas do you think it will least impact? Because obviously there's going to be some places, some areas of our economy, markets, jobs that will not be immune to it, but maybe not as hit as hard. Like if someone's a copywriter, heck, even if you're in legal work now, AI bots are getting into legal and referencing every case that's ever been known. That changes the course of a lot of very prominent professions. So what would you say kind of would be a safer profession? I know it's a weird question, but...
So it's funny because I actually already did a whole video on this.
Oh, great.
And I even did a video in general over lawyers. There was an AI that was specifically for it, and it was 99.9% not more accurate, but also cost effective. So if you went to law school right now, I think you're wasting your money. By the time you get out of law school, the pre-work, the junior work, just the grunt work that you have to do to get experience, get your foot in the door, AI will be doing that. It'll kind of be like a CPA. There will be one lawyer. AI does all the work, and the lawyer kind of just signs off on that. So, yeah, honestly, maybe that's a little too soon to say, but if you were to start your college chapter of your life right now, and you think I'm going to be a lawyer, I'm going to go get my master's, I'm going to go pass the bar and all that, I think it's by the time you get out, there won't be a need for it.
And I think it's across the board. I think if you're an engineer, I was having a conversation about the exact same thing, and the guy was like, "Well, my son's studying engineering," and I go, I don't mean to rain on anybody's parade here, but if you go, and I don't think it's happening tomorrow, I don't think it'll happen this year, but I do think within 5 years there will be mass job displacement. And if I'm an employer and I hire an engineer, okay, I can hire this guy straight out of college. And maybe it's a personality fit. That's probably where we'll start using humans, as a personality culture fit. But if I need just straight work getting done, I'm buying an AI program or robotic system that has all the known knowledge in the universe about engineering to build my products, to build my factories, to do whatever I need to be done. And that part kind of scares me. I wonder, where the hell are all the people going to go and make money? Where is it going? Is it going to be universal pay? Are we going to have just some? Okay, you live on Earth, you get $1,000 a month type of thing. I don't get it.
So there's universal basic income. This is like the big argument in the AI world. And no matter how much I look into this, by the way, you just cannot keep up with the news and the new stuff.
Yeah.
I'm drowning in it just trying to keep up with it. So universal basic income, you get a check every month. Universal basic services, your water, your heat, your electricity is free. Living's up to you, kind of thing. And I don't know if there's a world where we don't have either one of those. If we were to start printing the dollar like that, inflation, it would just be like Venezuela. It'd be $10 million for a roll of toilet paper. So you would need to change the dollar from something we print with more just, it's locked in it here. It's just a bartering system at that point, just a way to make trades.
Mm-hmm. And that could be challenging too if we start to go, now we're going from AI into technology, which is, we'll have a central bank digital currency within a decade. I don't think it's going to happen in the next 4 years. Powell's been clear about that. Trump's been clear about that. But it's just a natural evolution of money. And, at that bartering phase, pretty soon, I can make crops and I can fix a car. Therefore, we'll barter that way. But the monetary system gets locked down too and kind of forces you into the system of what the government wants.
But that's where, no matter how much I rack my brain, I just don't have that solution. I can complain about the problem, like here comes the problem, but I don't know what to do with it. So people ask me that question all the time. So I've put a fair amount of thought into it. But yeah, what what do you do? And I see Steven here. He says universal pay or welfare, isn't that the same thing? If no one has a job, everyone's on welfare.
Yeah.
And the reason why, and there's a lot going on, because I want to address another one of Steve's comments too, because I think a lot of people are very wrong with this. But the thing is how do you look at somebody like Ford? How do you even look at that CEO and think he's not going to replace the whole assembly line with workers? They don't take bathroom breaks. There's no smoke breaks. There's nothing. They work around the clock. There's no I got to pay for your school. There's no benefits package. It is just a robot that Elon wants to sell for $35,000. The average Ford and GM employee makes $120,000 a year. That's how much it costs the company to employ one of those. And what really floors me is when I say stuff like this and people are like, well, the robots are going to break. And everyone that said that, not a single one of them work in robotics. So if you're saying that right now and you're not on the stream, just know that that argument is irrelevant because you still don't have a job.
Right.
One, the robots, they're not disposable cameras. They're probably not going to break every day. And if they did, you're not the one to fix it anyway. So the problem still on your hands.
Yeah. I think in the early days of it, I think in the early days there will be humans, and the question from Chio is, what will the humans be doing? I think in the big early days of this change, humans will be servicing those robots and making sure the factory's running correctly. And so in a factory like Amazon, where you used to have 10,000 employees, now it might be like 50, just making sure everything's running smoothly. But at a certain point, that will be programmed into a robot who is the service robot who will be going around fixing the robots. It's a scary kind of sci-fi Jetsons, Skynet kind of world. And to Don's point, what do we do with it? I think, at least from my perspective, I need to position myself so I have income streams set up that when displacement happens, I don't look at it and go, oh, crap, I lost my job, I'm screwed. It's like, oh, I've got this set up and this set up and this set up, therefore I'll be good.
Yeah. And that was the biggest reason why. So Don Fron, I have two channels now, Don Fron Show and Don Fron Trading. Don Fron Show went to, I'm only talking about AI stuff, occasionally AI news, AI stocks, all on the investment side, just because I don't think people are seeing this coming. And I think when it hits, it's not going to be a trickle-down effect. I think it's going to be a meaningful hit right out of the gate. The only reason it's not going to just take over overnight is because think of how many people would boycott something. Mm-hmm. If, Amazon comes out and says, we laid off every one of our employees, because we got robots now, there's going to be an uproar. We've seen, and it was hilarious because the self-driving cars, people were putting traffic cones on the hood, and the sensors would sense something there, and it would stop. It would just park the car and create traffic, which was absolutely hilarious in my opinion.
Yeah, that's funny.
People are they're gonna have something to feel about that because that's families, that's everybody getting laid off. And so how you get around that, how you get the best of both worlds is you just don't treat the employees nice anymore. You treat them like crap. The AC goes out. Maybe it takes you a while to fix it. Let them get out on their own and not hire new people. You just bring in robots. So they slowly phase out the humans. You avoid the bad PR. You get the better numbers of robots right away. But by doing that, it's better for the company, a whole lot worse for the human side of things, because the people that quit their job, not seeing this, not aware, they think, I'm going to quit this job sucks, I'll go find another job.
Good luck.
And then they can't.
Yeah.
And then what?
Yeah.
And to Steve's comment, because I would answer the other question of what jobs can you get. Steve says, let me find it. Okay, I would think construction jobs where you have to problem solve on the fly like a handyman. What robot do you think you can problem solve faster than? Like, robots can think, they know everything you know, but without having to think, it's just already there. They don't have, their memory is perfect. You have to think about the experience you had to problem solve and something like that. They're going to come in there day one like they've had 14,000 years of experience.
Yeah, they've got all of human knowledge. I mean, look at somebody like Toll Brothers, right? So Toll Brothers, obviously a massive employer for construction of homes. Mm-hmm. If I'm Toll Brothers, I will be getting a fleet of robots. And at a beginning, those robots will just be moving parts around for my physical human workers. And do the simple framing, and then the humans will stand it up and do all that. But at a certain point, I will train those robots to do those jobs as well, and you get more and more and more proficient at those. And I would imagine that somebody like Toll Brothers will have their home designs and every aspect of that home programmed into the robot. So the robot will be able to look at anything and go, that's out of line, that's not right, that's got to be fixed here, and kind of have their own autonomy with fixing whatever problems may arise. And again, granted, I do think we're years down the road, but if you look at the amount of businesses, the amount of money businesses are spending on CapEx for just NVIDIA's chips for AI, I assure you they're going to spend a lot more than that for robotics to put that AI into and run their companies.
Yeah, easily. And actually, there's a movie everyone here should watch. It's with Megan Fox, but
I'm out.
no, it's you have to watch it.
Okay, I'll watch.
I'll warn you here. The first 3 quarters, absolutely amazing. The last quarter, it's what you expect. You know, I'm not going to give any. What are those called? The warnings where you.
Is this Subservience?
Spoilers. Yeah, Subservience. Have you seen that?
No, but I've heard about it, so I'm like, I'll check it out.
No, it's an absolute have to, because there's actual construction humanoid robots on a construction site, and I feel like it is one of the most realistic representations of what things will look like in that field.
Interesting.
It's wild. So there's just shipping containers the robots just go into at night, I guess because they didn't put sensors on there to make them see, which in real life that robot will be able to see at night, or they can just put lights up and work around the clock. Maybe there's noise complaints, who knows. So Megan Fox is an AI robot. The dad, his wife is sick. There's a reason why she's in the hospital. This dad's overloaded. They go to the mall to pick out an AI robot. Megan's the model that the little girl actually picks out.
Megan's the model? Now sign me up.
Yeah. Well, the wife says, "I thought you were going to get a British guy, you know, like the classic butler style." And the guy goes, "Well, that's what she picked." And it's crazy because so she cooks, she cleans, she does everything, and she even takes the kids to the park. And you see these kids all on the playground, and there's a bunch of just robots standing on the edges. Everyone's different model of their AI robot. And I'm thinking, like, that's insane because, first of all, that has to be the safest playground in the world. You have every robot scanning every single thing at every moment in time. Like, that you're not getting, like, that's gonna be a tough one to break down, especially if you were to try something. There's any kind of protection protocol, a robot doesn't get tired, like they're coming in hot.
Yeah.
But
funny.
also what you had mentioned first was, so they're on the construction site, and his job is the foreman, and he says for insurance purposes there needs to be at least one human on the site. So that's why he still has a job. And I was like, man, that's exactly what's going to happen as they phase things out. Like, there needs to be a human here to inspect or investigate or just make sure things are going, as planned.
But in that situation, you go from 20 workers or 30 workers to 1. And again, that kind of displacement. There's the picture up there of it. Subservience is the name of that movie. I'll check it. It doesn't do very good with IMDb scores, but I'll tell you what, IMDb scores are usually really bad anyway. Their rating service sucks. Like, anyway.
The idea is the robot. The robot falls in love with the human kind of situation. Like, there's something wrong in her coding, and she wants to replace the wife, kind of thing. So that's why I said
that's a little cliche. It's usually the other way around. Like, come on, let the human's going to fall for the robot. Program it in. Anyway, we can go on and on about that one.
That's why I said the last quarter is exactly what you expected.
That's what brought it from 10 point down to 5.4% on IMDb rating.
If you could just watch the first 3 quarters, you'll leave happy.
I'm not a quitter, Don. I'm going to watch it all the way through. I hate it because if I start a movie, I have to finish it. There's only, I think, 2 movies I've watched, and I can't remember the second one, but one of them was Sweeney Todd, where it's just nothing but a musical. Like if I was to conduct this interview in Sweeney Todd, it'd be like, Don Fron has his own channel. Don, how would you trade and invest these markets? It's like, enough. Just talk to people. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about AI as it relates to what you do. Trading, investing. I definitely have my viewpoints on it. The audience that is my regulars know my thoughts on it. But I'm curious your take on, we've got these AI agents. We might have the most intelligent algorithms in the world coming to market that are going to be implemented by these big institutions. Are you scared as a trader, or does this threaten you, or no big deal?
Oh, no, 1,000%. That's also why I'm hoarding cash like it's going out of style. I'm hoping they still do something with the dollar, and that it's not, I'm just piling up nothing when I should have been piling up rice, or seeds for plants.
Well, you're piling up Bitcoin, so you're doing good there.
I'm doing all right there, but yeah, I've been buying that for a while. But what happens if it all just becomes worthless? If we become Venezuela, like I can just afford two paper roll or toilet paper rolls, like still doesn't get you very far.
Use your
But
hand like the Middle East. Just use your hand. Just they got a garden hose you can wash off with, buddy.
that's well, if I can afford water, that's where I'm gonna be at.
What is this? Fury Road, right? We're a little
Yeah,
Mad Max.
that's what I'm saying. Like, please keep the dollar. Like, just do something with it.
Yeah.
I like that it's the world dominant currency. That's probably the only thing we have going for us right now. As long as that doesn't change, I'll have to just make that decision on the fly. But the thing is, so algos, they still have parameters. They're
Yep.
not as scary as people think they are. It's just a math problem. Where I think we are absolutely done is when it's no longer an algo. It is an actual AI that thinks and reasons for itself. And the Goldman Sachs manager says, we're a market maker. We participate in this and that. Go do your best. Here's full access. No one stands a chance. You might be on the same ride as that one and catch some luck here and there, but there's your brain just doesn't. You can't take in that information. You can't react fast enough. I think that will the markets are toast at that point.
Think so? All right.
Yeah.
I finally get to disagree with you. That's it. Fine. This is the first time I really disagree with you.
Yeah. So I'm so back and forth because I've seen how money just runs things. Money's in charge of everything. The world's obsessed with money.
We need it to survive, man. We got to buy goods and services. I need to buy my water, or as Andrew says here, gold, food, water, lead. I need these things.
Yeah, or you need to buy a politician. Like they survive on this stuff,
Yeah.
and so those are going to be the ones in power. Once you start affecting their money, that's when trouble hits, and that's going to be our saving grace. Is maybe we don't turn the AI towards the markets. There was actually a scene in was it Age of Ultron, the Avengers. He wants to pay the guy, so you see Ultron kind of just look up and close his eyes for a little bit, and then there's just a bunch of money in the guy's account because he's tapped into the markets. Like, I think that could be a very realistic thing if a robot wanted to. Like, if you think high frequency traders are anything, they're scalping for pennies. Imagine what a robot with access to all that could do. He
I
could just
agree.
be taking a
They
million
could,
trades
I
at
think they
once.
could certainly manipulate the markets to some extent, but I think when we look at the grand scheme of things, I think people like yourself, like myself, my audience, and your audience, we are actually in the prime position because the reality is the markets are going to move. Like, it's not just going to magically go from $1 to $2 in price, right? There will be an ebb and flow of prices driven by algorithms, high frequency trading, and some retail traders at that point. So the fact that maybe my decision-making process changes a little bit, that's going to happen. But I'll still be buying something, expecting it to go from $1 to $2, and I'll hold it for a different period of time. I might be looking at different inputs, but I can still capitalize on that rally. With AI systems, especially if it's an AI system for like a Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, they're swinging 500,000 shares at a time. And AI could utilize that order flow and front run it and make a ton of money off that. My orders, like I was in 6,000 shares of SMCI the other day, no big deal, but that's not something that's so monumental that AI is like, hey, let's front run this guy. There's major money to be made off him. So I think as long as we have this approach of I'm a mosquito in this grand scheme of the wilderness of trading, I don't think AI matters at all.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, you'll be on that ride, and hopefully they turn it in your direction. I always say it's like a fly in an elephant stampede. You just need to not get stepped on.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a real danger for traders. Because I can see that. I mean, we already know what happened in when high frequency trading got out of hand. Everyone got caught with their pants down. It was that flash crash on Monday. What they call that? That Monday has a name.
Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, it was that flash crash, but I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, and so just imagine that, but times 1,000. Like, if AI, because how do you turn the problem here is, and I'm only focusing on the bad. I like to focus on just, hey, how not to die, and then we'll worry about living later. That's why I worry about my stop loss first, than I do everything else. Is just what is my overall risk. But let's say you point AI in the direction of the markets, and then where's the off switch? Because once you let that cat out of the bag, you open Pandora's box. you're on for the ride. Hopefully, it's your scenario versus mine where they just want to take because they're going to tell AI the goal is to make money.
Yep.
And what if that? What if he finds a way to take everyone's money?
You can't. It can't
Why
take
not?
everyone's money.
Sure
There's
you
too
can.
many participants in there for one AI system. And again, it's not going to
Yeah.
be. It's not one AI system. It's AI systems competing with other AI systems. So
Yeah.
it's remember trading. They say trading is a zero-sum game. I believe it's a negative-sum game simply because of the commissions that are extracted from the marketplace. But
Right.
someone wins, someone loses. AI can't be every winning trade and the population's every losing trade. That mathematically, I don't think that's possible. I don't think that could happen. But I mean, stranger things have happened.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be all at once, but it would be it's in a worst case scenario. They have a target and they find that order flow, and
Yeah.
then they wipe that person out. They take all that money, and then all you're doing is just waiting in line for the to be next. Where they're like, okay, Merlin's got 6,000 shares. These are Merlin's emotional trigger points, and let's figure that out. And then, well, hang on. Margaret's asking how much of the trading volume is done by AI. AI doesn't actually exist yet. When I say AI, I mean the actual.
Yeah,
Artificial
right now it's all
intelligence.
algorithms, and I think
Yeah.
the assumption is it's like 70% of all the trading on U.S. markets is done by algorithms.
Yeah. Yeah. And, again, an algorithm
And by
is
the
just a
way,
math
if it's
problem.
done by algorithms, you're still doing okay, right?
Yeah.
You're still doing well, and that's my point. And when we look at this AI thing, because on one hand, I feel like it's this. You could dive into this rabbit hole and it turns into doom and gloom. It turns into the apocalypse, Skynet, this world is absolutely screwed, right? On the other hand, there will be people who can survive and profit from this, which is why I'm stoked that I magically fell into this profession 28 years ago. It's like, thank God, all right? Because if I'm a screenwriter, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, you're toast.
I'm toast.
Yeah, see, I actually think it's a little bit of both. So I'm actually not a doom and gloom person, but somebody said sounds like a problem for civilization because people have no purpose. Middle class will be done. Of course, you get rid of all of that, and then people don't have an identity anymore, and I think we'll get over that. But I think that wave is going to be a mass depression. It's going to be a mass problem until we do figure it out. But then just picture past that wave, past that pothole. There's no more labor. And this goes back to your original question of what do humans do?
Yeah.
And right now, man, if you want to go to I'm sure a robot could cut my hair perfect, but you go to the barber to talk to the barber. You go to a bar to talk to the bartender. There we go. Yeah.
It's my therapist. My therapist is the bartender, I'm telling you.
Exactly. Like there's still human interaction.
Yeah.
But now we have that much more time for it. So I think new sports get invented. I think entertainment industry goes nuts. I think the current, as far as trading goes, hopefully Disney, surely those companies come out with some sort of AI, but the entertainment we have now, very much in trouble.
Yeah.
It's just as far as money goes, but new entertainment, as far as like what do we do with our time, I think we get creative. There's only so many days you could sit at your house just bored out of your mind before somebody starts throwing rocks down the driveway and comes up with a new game or something.
Yeah. I mean, and you're right. Gives us something to do. I'll add on one here. I don't know if you've heard about this. I have a friend who works for NVIDIA, and he's telling me about some of the technology. And this blew my mind. I'm a sports fan. I love sports. Most sports. Some of them I just can't stand watching. But let's say you wanted to watch your favorite NFL game. So I'm watching my 49ers, and one of my favorite broadcasters was Howard Cosell. So what they do is they're taking all of the old sportscasters. You can name it all the way back to the dawn of time, and they will record a language model for Howard Cosell. So now when I go to watch my sport, I can click, who do I want to be the announcer? Do I want Tom Brady? Do I want Chris Collinsworth? Do I want Howard Cosell? Give me Howard Cosell. And now I select my host, but I can also select the amount of color commentary that Howard Cosell does. He could be as quiet as, it's 3rd and 4. That's it. Or, I know George Kittle, he went to Iowa State and he has ham and cheese sandwiches every day for, all that color. I can adjust. And what does that do to up and coming broadcasters, right? Here's that human element where we want to have fun and have our personalities. It's like, I'll pick the ones I like. I'm done. This is happening like as we speak. They're building these systems out. Pretty cool.
Yeah. So Mike Hudson, you see in the chat, he's one that shows up with me on Don Fron show, and we talk about this.
Welcome, Mike.
And we do. There's been so many studies, like as far as therapists and everything go. The AIs, even the language models, not even AI, they're better at human interaction and empathy than humans actually are. So like, you're going to want physical connection. because if your conversation is over the phone, like what you're listening to as a broadcaster, done. I
Yeah.
think the only thing that's safe is when someone wants, I want to go talk to a human. I
Yeah.
want to hear someone mumble or make a stupid mistake. Like I want to hear, who was it that was talking about it might have been Mike, but they want to read old-fashioned books because maybe there is a typo. Like, oh, look, this is before AI was written. Like now all
Yeah.
of a sudden, old books or human-written books are now like a cool thing.
Well, we'll always have a place. I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
the markets are just going to evolve, and I think there was a question here just a little bit ago from Margaret says, so chart patterns won't work with AI. I don't know if they will not work. Remember, trading is psychology. It's buyers and it's sellers, right? It's human emotion driving prices. In this case, it'll be automated emotion. And I've made this point with my audience before, but I know I got some new people here. When I got started back in the late 90s, it was because of SOS bandits and ECNs. And the industry told you that that was going to ruin trading forever, that this new electronic system was going to destroy trading. It didn't. It actually made it better. It morphed, and all the traders that were involved at that time adapted their style and accommodated. Same thing with high-frequency trading came in. Same thing with algorithms come in. So, our job, I think we got the best job on the planet because AI is going to be programmed. It's fed a large language model, and it will be tailored to operate in a specific manner. So if you have an AI system that's going off of straight technicals and moving averages and Bollinger Bands, you'll know how it's going to react. And therefore, you might anticipate AI's maneuvers. So I think chart patterns will still be very relevant because it represents the collective thinking of buyers and sellers.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where I'm at. But also the other side of that coin, I try to just do the heads and tails is, if the cool thing about retail is your 6,000 shares don't mean squat.
Yeah.
So I mean it's low hanging fruit, So there's a good and bad to that because a lot of times like, oh, why would you worry about Merlin's 6,000 shares? Goldman Sachs got 350,000 that we could mess with right now.
Yep.
But at the same time, when you see that picture perfect, it shows up in a dictionary, a head and shoulders pattern. That bank or that algo knows what the humans are thinking, and if there's enough retail support in there, yeah, they're gonna mess with them because it'd be the easiest stop hunt ever, And so there's
and I feel that's changing now. I feel like more systems are trying to exploit patterns. And I'll be honest, it's been kind of a bread and butter for me for 20 plus years is looking at patterns because I know how people are going to react. If something comes down to its 200 period moving average, pretty sure it's going to bounce. And now all of a sudden, over the past 3 or 4 years, you've seen it get to the 200 and then rifle through it, triggering everybody to close out their long positions, and then it rips back up. So it's just adaptation. It's just taking market into consideration and acting on it. I think we're in the precipice of good times. It could be that we'd be the only people working and making good money.
I think no one's working here in a little bit. So
well, you won't be working because of wealth and robots, right? Like I'm pretty sure I've got another 5 years left and I'm done. As soon as that robot's there, when I have the robot that will give me breakfast, clean the dishes, order all the groceries, clean my floors, do my laundry, weed my yards, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's a couple years.
I know. That's why I said I got 5 years, and it's like my timeline is 5 years. And let's be clear, I won't be done, but doing the 9 to 5 stuff I'll still trade. I love trading, but I'll be doing a lot more fun stuff, and I'll probably still be doing my damn show for free. So there we go.
That's what I was saying. Like we might just be on here more time because what else needs to be done? This might just be a podcast of BSing around.
I just talking about the trades that you're making. That's it's the fun part for me every day. I mean, I've been doing this. I did a show, before this for a decade, so 10 years, and now this is year 5. So I've been doing this every day live for about an hour for 15 years. I mean, damn. And now I just do it because I love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like it. It's fun. It's certainly not for the YouTube money.
Yeah. No,
the $49 a month or whatever it is.
Not even that. So I used to turn on. You may do it or not, but I used to turn on the ad revenue, right, just to get a little bit. And I was making a few $100 a month, and I just said it's just too annoying to the audience, so I turned it off. It's not worth it for the $300.
If you so I have mine off, and people still get ads.
Really?
YouTube will still play ads on your videos. It depends on what they think the user wants to see.
Wow, is anybody on my watch list getting ads? I haven't heard of ads in a while.
Oh, people are real quick. They're like, "What did you say? There was an ad." I'm like, "All right, hang on. I got to repeat myself."
Yeah, let's see what I said. As far as AI goes, let's break down. Obviously, you and I are both fans of AI. I think there's good and bad to it, but I think as an investment opportunity, as an inevitability for our marketplaces, I think it's pretty clear. It's not going away. It's here to stay. It's out of the bag. What plays do you like? I know Tesla's your number one, but what other things are you looking at that you think may offer some opportunity? Of course, not investment advice, everybody. This is just opinions about what he thinks. But what out there tickles your fancy from an AI perspective?
So I actually refer to it as casting an AI net.
Okay.
And same with robotics, because so here's the thing is right now we know if money could buy it, it would be here. Have you seen, I'm sure you have. It's a stupid question, but for the audience, have you guys seen the dollar amounts they are throwing at these things? There is nothing short. If it doesn't start with a B, no one's talking about it. We're throwing 10 billion here,
Yeah.
50 billion here. It's $1 trillion industry. If money could already make it happen, it would already be here. Which so my line of thinking there is it's going to be an accidental discovery. So I don't know who's going to cover it because it could be Google, Apple, it could be some smaller shop, which is why I don't want to leave those out. It's going to be some nerd that was working overtime because he doesn't have a girlfriend. Here it is on Valentine's Day, and the computer's going to start talking back to him. And then there you have it, like AI will be discovered. So I like right now all the big players because Tesla, Google, Amazon, they can attract that talent. They're the ones that have that shop that the guy with no girlfriend, just the typical what someone would picture nerd looking like.
Right.
That's where he's working, like. So I want to be involved in all of them. Some have more, obviously Tesla, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta. They have the most of the allocation, but I want to make sure I have a whole net out there. Just because the one that does discover it first, there is clearly, and I hope nobody's confused by this. There is an absolute AI race going on. We need to be the first ones to come out with it before China does, and so we're trying to drive everything we can to it. So I'm going to where the money's at, and it's the big players.
So, and it's funny because when I look at crypto, I teach a bunch of different crypto classes for different organizations, and that's kind of my approach as well. It's like, I look back at what happened in the dot-com era, and I was just day trading it back then, just grinding away, hundreds of trades per day. And I didn't take the time to step back and say, why don't I just buy a portfolio of different crypto or of internet stocks? Because I know that 10, 15 years down the road, this stuff's going to change the world. And I made that huge mistake. And of course, hindsight is 2020, and I would have made multi-millions off of that alone. With crypto this time, I'm doing exactly what I should have done. I've got a portfolio of 39 different cryptocurrencies. Like you, I have the majors. I've got Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, but then you start to sprinkle in some smaller ones, which maybe will be the the bigger 100x, 10x, 1000x type plays. With AI, I wouldn't say it's difficult because there still are so many names out there. But I agree with you. I think a portfolio of the big names helps. Are there smaller little guys that you look at and go, well, maybe this little tiny one?
Mm-hmm. Right now, there's been a couple. I still think NNDM is one. Nano Dimension. So they're 3D printing microchips.
Okay.
And can you imagine your motherboard on your computer, the giant flat plate? Imagine if that was a cube because it was 3D printed. The efficiency it would have. Now, the stock, absolute garbage, but the fundamentals, if you look at the fundamentals behind it, I think they're more of we're trying to make it, we're trying to wrap it really good, so we're a buyout. But if that takes off, and now I have 3D printers, and for people that don't have 3D printers, you probably don't understand this yet. There are things only 3D printers can do. Like when I print a chain on my 3D printer, it's actually one piece because it's printed in each level. So like if you were to look at a metal chain, there's links that are welded together. You add the next link, you weld it together. There's a weak spot in every one of those welds. 3D printing, it's all one piece. Still the same thing. And you can take that and imagine your wiring is no longer on a 2D grid, your microchip and everything. It is 3D. So you can take your whole plate that is your motherboard, turn it into a cube that's, the size of a film canister, outside of the plugins I guess you'd have to have on there. You can have it much smaller with the same power or the same size and just a billion times worth the power. So there's that company that stands out. Mike would know it. ACHR. You talked about it. The eVTOL, the vertical takeoff, the taxi. They're getting actually ready to start that right now.
Yeah, Arch Aviation. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to be something that every city will use, but cities like New York, where you're going from building to building, that already had the helipads and roofs. they're actually already about to do that. So I bought some of that a while back. Mike actually brought this to my attention. Had a good day today.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's had a phenomenal couple of months. I mean, from November, the thing was at $3 and it peaked out at 12 in January. So pretty darn good.
That's because they're about to start now. When you said, what do you think the timeline is for that drone taxi? That's why I said next year.
Yeah.
Because they're already kicking it off. So there's.
Would you ride in one? Would you feel comfortable on that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I'd have to wait a little bit, man. The little quadcopter thing kind of spooks me, but I mean, I guess it's better than a single helicopter.
Have you ever flown a drone?
I have.
Have you ever flown a DJI drone?
Yep. I had a little. My roommate had one, so it was okay. It was fun.
Yeah, because the DJI drones, you just can't crash. And it's funny because people. So my first drone I made. I built it, soldered all the wires in. I had to write the code for the flight program.
Wow, nerd alert.
And there's no well, that's just how drones were back then.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no safety protocol. And of course, I have to have everything that goes the fastest. So
of course, yes, you do.
It goes 150 miles an hour is what it was supposed to be rated for.
Jeez.
And man, I zipped that thing right into a new construction home. It was so fast, blink of an eye.
So you did crash it.
Yeah, it's the
See,
only other time.
I don't want to be in the robotaxi that you're driving or programming.
Well, that was just me. So then there's DJI comes out with these drones. They're just the name to be in, and they're the only drones I'll ever buy because of how many friends I've had on cheaper drones that. They lose their signal and they remember the last command and they just keep flying until the battery dies. And my friend's like, I won't spend because my drone, the one I have now is $4,000, but there was a couple $1,500 ones that I had. My buddy who refuses to spend $1,500 on a drone has lost 3 or 4 $500 to $800 drones for that reason.
It just took off.
And DJI, they land, they take off, they land. You just can't crash the things. So honestly, if people were to just compare those two and now put you in the safety of one of those, it's annoying how many safety protocols are just on that drone itself. And now knowing there's a human involved in there, I think those things are absolutely 1,000% safe. Much safer than any car you'll ever be on with that software. Yeah.
We talked about this the other day where, there's all those movies, Total Recall and Fifth Element, where you have these lanes in the sky, right? These channel like tubes of traffic. And I actually think that was a really good hypothesis for when they made those movies. And it will probably be that way. I can't imagine this robotaxi will be able to go anywhere it wants to go, but there'll be these channels like kind of going from distribution point to distribution point. And you think, next year we start to see those things really in production and working?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but it will be for like executives, people that need to get somewhere in New York without driving for 30 minutes or walking, 14 blocks.
Yeah.
So you will see that. And it'll be quick and easy. As far as air traffic control goes, I mean, there'll be quick plotted paths. Because you're going in a straight line, you know where you're going. So all you need to do is, for some chance there is someone and you guys are about to cross paths, you just need to adjust height. But computers would drive that so much.
Yeah, not like the helicopter and the airplane in D.C. Sorry, too soon, my bad.
Well, people also, how many people asked me about that? It was wild because people it's funny because people think there's all these crash sensors on aircraft. And my response to that is, you ever parallel parked a Boeing 747? You ever had to parallel park something? Like, you don't back in helicopters, and there are detection services, but also it's not a submarine. There's not a local radar on there. We just get to see something beep and coming in. They do have detection services, but they're turned off below 1,000 feet because in that airspace, there's buildings, there's mountains. So you just use your eyes.
Yeah. Well, apparently they didn't, but I'm curious to how this will pan out. I'm looking forward to driverless vehicles. I know you're a big car guy. I like to drive every now and again, but honestly, if I could just get in the car and do what I wanted to do and not have to worry about driving, I'm in. Sign me up.
So, let's talk about that.
Let's do it.
1,000% safer for everybody. To just make human driving illegal, make it. But just think of what that, again, as far as entertainment goes, now just imagine that you don't have to buy a car because you're just going to hail a robo-taxi, whatever it is, a self-driving car. Now you get to specifically buy the hot rod you want, the Jeep that you want, because human driving is now illegal, That's a form of entertainment. Here's these trails you can go drive on with your Jeep. Here's the racetrack. Here's a scenic highway you're allowed to manually drive on. Kind of like going to the skating rink, there will be just a certain path you can stay on. For the people that just want to drive their own car, it'll be for off-road purposes only. I think that'll 100% that I think is going to be a little bit further down the road because there's too many manual cars on the road. They would need to start dying out, quit making parts for that, and that's a little bit further down the road. But honestly, once full self-driving's out, I wish with everything that they would just make it illegal for humans to drive.
We may get there. For viewers that want to know, according to the National Highway Transportation Safety Association, there's one crash for every 670,000 miles driven with regular human drivers. With a Tesla FSD, there was one crash every 5.5 million miles. I mean, that's almost a 10x, like an 8x better. Yeah. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, crazy. And the thing with AI is, as we're talking, better. It's never going backwards. This is the worst it's ever going to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Lisa says, how do we afford those cars? How do you afford the car you have now? It's just going to be the normal.
You'll just make payments. Come on, go in debt. We need just more debt. Last one. I know we're kind of going long here, and you're probably going to retire for the weekend. With all of this AI, the big discussion has been energy. And, of course, there's a ton of different ways that we could go about this. Trump has been very clear. I want drill, baby, drill, but other technologies. What's your take on how we fuel this insatiable demand for energy?
I guess a little bit of everything. Yeah, nuclear would obviously be one of the faster ways. Yeah. You can't ignore solar. I think everyone, when I have this conversation, is gung-ho about one. I think it's a mix of everything.
Yeah.
Oil is probably the more barbaric version. Because when you have nuclear and solar, what are we using oil for? What are we using gas for anymore?
Right. It's legacy. It's hard to get rid of legacy stuff that's like it's the foundation of what we do is petroleum, right? It's just that transition out of it.
Yeah, it's because people don't know any better. And honestly, I think a lot of people don't know any better because of how much money is in oil. Solar gets better every year. There was a scare. I get the whole nuclear scare thing, but there's so many viable places for nuclear even right now, let alone when AI and NVIDIA points their power at how can we make nuclear even better. You need uranium the size of a nickel to power New York for 10 years. It's something absolutely stupid. And then you got the sun that shows up every day. I laugh at this all the time because I do have solar on my properties, and everyone's like, well, what if the power goes out? I said, we're going to have a big problem because that means the sun didn't show up that day, and you got other things to worry about. You're probably already dead. Yeah. So good news there. There's so many more reliable sources of energy that I think once we get over that hump, it's just a no-brainer. And then I think that powers everything. I will say that made one of my bullish decisions, bring it back to stock related, was Meta. Meta started buying up property to put their data centers where they had clean power. They started buying up things in the United States. When everyone was making fun of them for virtual reality and all that, Meta was buying up everything, forcing Google and Amazon to put power centers overseas in places that don't have the cleanest power. I thought that was one of the biggest power moves ever. Yeah. I was like, oh, Zuckerberg's way ahead of these people.
Well, I'm sure he had a team that told him about that. But, I mean, you look at the chart of Meta's chart is just absolutely phenomenal. And, now you're seeing a race as well. So it was this AI race, and now there's this race of energy. So a lot of these Amazon and Google and Meta is investing in a lot of these nuclear startups and energy companies and locating their facilities near some of these power plants. And there's micro nuclear as well, which I think is really interesting. But it all, we're going to need power for this stuff. Right now, I'm in California where everyone says, we're going to go all electric by 2030. It's like, there's no way we could with our current infrastructure. We don't have the systems in place.
Well, it's because we haven't built them yet.
Right.
Once there's a need and the money needs to be there, then I think that game changes a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we got a little bit of it has to do with lobbyists and people paying to keep fossil fuels around. But yeah, if we say fossil fuels are out, put more infrastructure, we'll be all electric or some other vehicle in no time.
There's two things I want to answer. Margaret says, can they self-drive in the snow? I promise you it can drive way better than you or any human in any condition. Ford used this example in one of their commercials a while back. And this is just for a suspension. This is just for the actual shock under your wheel. It sees a pothole. It will soften that suspension as you're going 65 miles an hour down the road, it'll sense the pothole at the edge, soften the suspension, and then tighten it after the pothole.
Yeah.
Because computers think in frames of 10,000 frames per second. Your brain's just not doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they can drive in deep snow. They can drive well. They can. Yeah, obviously, there's still laws of physics, but they can do it much better than the humans can. And I'm a control freak, guys. I drive everywhere. But once you see like how much better the computers are,
Yeah.
a million times better. And then so Steve's asking us any worry in an AI bubble, and I do have an answer for this. But what are your thoughts on this?
I don't know if I would call it a bubble. I would call it a growth cycle. So you're going to have big surges up. We'll have corrective phases as people get skittish. And then I think it'll continue to roll into more money going into AI development, AI infrastructure. I just think there's trillions of dollar potential here for these major corporations. I don't think any of them are going to back down from it. So I do think you'll probably see some pullbacks along the way. But longer term, I think you're going much higher.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. So what I've referenced, because everyone keeps talking about the dot-com bubble.
Yeah.
Half these people that weren't even trading, they weren't alive. I mean, I wasn't, but still, like, I know enough about it that I know that their argument's irrelevant.
You're making me feel really old right now, bud. You're making me feel old. Just letting you know.
I've had these arguments before with people, and I'm like, just stop. You don't know anything about the dot.
I was there. I lived it.
Yeah, you were.
It's like the Great Depression, right? I feel like I'm talking about the Great Depression. I lived through the dot-com bubble.
but people will talk like the Great Depression, like they were there. I'm like, shut up. You don't know. If we're referencing the dot-com bubble, we are 1996 right now. We got a few more years of absolute growth.
Yes.
And I do think there's going to be a lot of just fluff coming in later. Once we start to see real power in AI, because right now everyone kind of rushed and everyone thinks large language models are AI. There was that kind of excitement. Wait till we actually do get real AI and the robotics takes the next wave. I do think we're going to see probably an influx and maybe close to a bubble, but that's years down the road. We're going to see the next power first, the real power forward in AI, and then all that mess comes in, which is another thing when I'm casting my AI net. It's why I wanted to do it now while I'm of clear sound mind, because I think a bunch of noise just comes in, and that's what creates the bubble later, because you just can't tell. Was it Steve from Adam? You just don't know what's going on. You just know, like AI was in the name, so you just bought it. Once that noise hits, then we're talking bubble time.
To put that into perspective, let me show everybody the chart of Microsoft here. So, back in the peak, Microsoft, was surging in that dot-com bubble. And then what you get in a bubble environment is everybody and their mothers trying to do the same thing. And right now, I think we're getting there where everyone's trying to get into AI. And lo and behold, Microsoft did suffer because everything suffered. The economy suffered. But you look at this chart here. I know you can't see it, Don, but I'm just showing the chart from like 1987 to 2000. It's incredible. You look at that chart like, good God, why wasn't I in that? Well, if you zoom out even more and show where we are today, this is the leaders taking over. This is what Don talked about, which is there's a lot of companies out there. I don't know which one's going to be the leader down the road, but this is what's going to happen with AI, is you're going to have a little bit of a shakeout. There'll be a consolidation. Right now, you've got like 15 different companies trying to use their large language model, from DeepSeek to OpenAI and XAI. At some point, those will start to consolidate, and the world will use some model, and that one will be the one that takes off. So I'm with Don. I think you might have a little bit of a pullback. Longer term, you'll see the industry grow, but it's about finding the key players and holding on to those ones for the long haul.
Yeah, I think that was the absolute. So Microsoft, even that chart in general, is I think probably the best example even I've seen. Because I think troubles will happen and then things will pull back. Maybe it flattens out for a little bit, but once they just put it to work, it's going to look like it might. That chart might look the same, but the time frame along the bottom might look a little different. It might not take that many years to start moving things up.
Yeah, I don't think it'll take that long either. And the interesting part will be adoption and what it does to the financials of a business. Because as soon as someone throws in a robot and kicks out employees, the whole your financial structure of earnings announcements is going to be completely different. Work ethic, time, and all that stuff.
Now, my thing. I trust greed more than I trust anything else. So how do you, as a CEO...
What are you, Gordon Gekko? Greed is right. Greed is good. Greed works.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, how do you, as a CEO, look at someone comes up to you and says, here's the clipboard. Here's the numbers. If you replaced everything with a robot right now, that number is going to be
You can't say no.
Day.
Yeah, you can't say no.
Exactly. But how do you handle the pushback from you just fired and displaced all these families?
You know what? As a CEO, you are not beholden to the employees or the families. You're beholden to shareholders.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
So
that's technically a CEO's job is to maximize shareholder profit. So if you're an employee, buy the stock then. If you know you're being displaced for robots, buy that company.
true.
Profit from your layoff.
But that's why I referenced this earlier. I think that's why they just start letting people go, letting people quit on their own, and then replacing it because you still kind of get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
You don't go from black to white. There's the gray area in between, and you get to avoid all the bad press of we didn't fire everybody for robots. Now we quit hiring humans, but if they're still here, we still have humans on our work site. So you actually get to be the shining light in
Right.
the AI takeover while participating in an AI takeover.
Well,
So Go ahead.
the future is definitely going to be extremely interesting. I'm excited for it. I don't know how it all is going to shake out, but like you, I have my opinions about where I think it's going to go. And bottom line is, you put your money where your mouth is, and hopefully it pans out.
Yeah, and that's why, because I have different timelines and everything. But the one thing I can, and I would put every dollar on this, is that by 2030, I might have been ahead on my timelines, but by 2030, you're not questioning a single thing I've said. I think that's by 2030, AI and robotics have changed so much that I might have said it happened by 2029 or 2028, but by that time, it wouldn't even matter
Yeah.
because everything, so much has changed.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm with you. I have my perspectives on it, and time may change my perspective, but for now, based off what's laid out in front of me as that chessboard is setting up, I agree. I think it'll be pretty much in line with what you said.
Yeah, I think, and something I say on my channel a lot, if you're not paying attention to this, one of two things. You are trying to ignore it. You got just your head in the sand like an ostrich.
Yeah.
You're just pretending it's not there, like you can't see it, so it's not there like a little infant when they cover their eyes. Like
Peekaboo.
if I can't see you, you can't see me. Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Like I don't care how afraid or how much you don't understand it. If you just don't look into it, I think you're setting up for the biggest blindside ever.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm bringing up. You've got. Where do you want me to direct people? I know you've got a couple different sites that you mentioned. You got Don Fron Trading and Don Fron.
Yeah, Don Fron Show still has everything. I just talk mostly AI investments, AI specific trades. That's the bigger channel. Don Fron Trading is same stuff, but if it's something not AI related, I'm probably going over there for that one.
There you go. All right,
But
I
Don
got
Fron show's the
it.
easy
Got it
one.
up there. Let me get this ad out of the way. There you go. Your head was pretty shaved in that video, bud. You look like you were bald in that bad boy. Your welcome video on your Don Fron show.
yeah. No, yeah, my hair was cut. It's long right now.
Oh, look at
I
that.
usually
You're
have
getting
it
shaggy.
pretty
You can
tight.
braid that stuff, buddy.
Oh, there was one time where I would just let my beard grow. I was like, let's see where it goes. It got even a little too long for me, but looking back at it, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I even had it that long.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately I can't grow a beard. I just it's like just bad stubble for me. But maybe one of these. Maybe in November I'll start up again.
Yeah. Hey, maybe AI can fix that.
Maybe AI, get AI facial hair. All right, Don. Hey, thank you very much. I didn't want to go an hour, but here we are. Sorry to take so long. I know you you have probably things you need to be going to, and it's happy hour somewhere. So I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for being here today and sharing some insights with us, and hopefully get you back on again soon.
Yeah, of course. And then we'll talk probably more about stocks.
Let's do it. Yeah, I know we're theoretical today. It's good though. It's a good discussion.
Yeah.
All right, my friend.
Good
Take care. Have a
Friday.
great weekend.
Have a good one.
All right, see you. Guys, that was Don Fron. You can check out more info from his YouTube channel, Don Fron Show, which I brought up there just a second ago. I don't have time to go into all of the markets for today. I'll just tell you, I did sell some more puts on MicroStrategy. I sold calls on MicroStrategy as well as calls on IBIT, and my options on NVIDIA expired worthless, so happy there. Anyway, for those of you who are new from Don's channel, hit that subscribe button. I do my show every single day live at 2 p.m. Not every single. Sometimes it messes up like yesterday when the power goes out, and it was really odd. I came back on about 11 o'clock at night, so it was not the best day for the show. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that one with Don. I'm going to go in and have a weekend celebration. I hope that all of you have a fantastic Valentine's Day. Ladies, hope you got some flowers, and going to go spend it with a loved one tonight. That said, I'm going to go. If you got anything you want me to talk about for Monday's show, email me, tradermerlin@gmail.com. You can put it in there. Actually, I even got the date wrong on today's show. Can you believe it? This is how unorganized I am. If you got things you want me to discuss on Monday's show, I'll have more time because this was kind of all consumed with Don here, and it was fun. Learned a lot, and interesting seeing different traders' perspectives on it. So have a fantastic weekend, everybody. Email if you want to discuss something. I will see you guys on Monday. Take care. Well, actually, no show on Monday. It's a holiday.